All right, all right. Welcome, welcome everybody. My bad. It's a little late joining this stream and starting because I had to roll up. Small technical difficulty. No big deal. So, let me join from my phone. Make sure the audio's good. Still being entitled wicked cunts. Who want something for nothing. All right, so just made another post to re-advertise the live. And let's see if I can join it from the phone and just make sure the audio is good. All right, so okay, cool. Audio is good. It's working. All right. So, as always, guys, the focus of this session is to ground and just relax. There isn't any specific agenda. Obviously, if people do come and join and ask in the chat or have any questions, we'll tend to that. But for the most part, this is just to chill and relax. Again, focus on being present in the moment and not allowing the different spiritual forces that are coming against you. Like the number one thing that most people, especially in America right now, the number one thing people are worried about is finances. Like, how is like the job market's absolutely crappy. One of the things I do is I check in on LinkedIn every day. LinkedIn has a lot of different people who are complaining about having a hard time finding jobs. It's a big problem. And it's something that I'm very passionate about as well because I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm not in the job seeking role, but I don't necessarily like seeing the, demonic and manipulative practices that job, creators are doing right now. I was a corporate, drone, if you will, very, very highly paid. I'd put on a suit, I'd fly on a plane, I'd go to the boardroom and I'd give people presentations and tell them how to spend double-digit $1 million to improve their cybersecurity resilience. But at the end of the day is I realized that I couldn't be the same person who was helping the system be as broken and wicked as it is, and of course greedy, because as a consultant, my job again like was to put on a suit to make what I say look more legitimate. Sometimes the things that I'm trying to push as a cybersecurity professional, I knew the client didn't necessarily need, but I needed to feed myself and my Porsche. So, eventually you do grow a conscience and you realize that you'd rather not be misleading and manipulating people to make coin. You'd rather be more honest. So, that's effectively what I've been doing with my businesses. All my businesses are businesses that I created with Christ consciousness. So, what that means is that my primary focus for starting my businesses is not to say, oh, I want to get insanely rich. My primary purpose is so that people can have impact. Now, because my businesses have a harder and stronger impact than the existing businesses, then yeah, of course, I'm probably going to eat up a couple of, competitors and step on some toes on my way of creating my businesses. But the primary thing that we're focusing on is God consciousness. So, as a business owner, as a CEO, and a man of God. My job is to lead businesses and not have deceptive business practices. So that means that if I don't think you need a service, I'm not going to sell it to you. If I don't think that there is some other service that I can offer you that's going to give me a bonus on the back end, I'm not going to try to recommend that instead of you recommending what you truthfully, rightfully need. So that in and of itself is my responsibility as a job owner to be able to do that stuff, is to be able to say, hey, I am going to create jobs and run my businesses with Christ consciousness and be honest, and then not have people be worrying about the authenticity or the veracity of what it is that I'm producing. But anyways, putting my business hat off to the side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spark one up, and then we will go ahead and just chill and ground. But that was just like a little intro, just to let you guys know what the set the tone for this kind of chill session is that we're just trying to chill and say fuck capitalism, fuck being part of the system that makes everybody's lives here in America hell. Capitalism. That's literally what it is. It's the greed demon. A lot of these CEOs are plagued with the greed attachment. They literally have an insatiable amount and and appetite for wealth. There is not a single dollar amount that you can show these guys in their bank account and they will be satisfied with it. They are greed demons. They are being used by the greed principality. So their primary purpose is to say, who is the next person that I can exploit for a dollar? Whereas when you are a child of God, you are at peace. You know where your next dollar is coming from. Now, obviously, I might have some trolls who may go back and rewatch this or whatever. So, I mean, I don't necessarily need to lay out all the places where I get my money from. But I'm not somebody that does any illegal operations. And like I say on my YouTube often, this is the poorest I've been in my entire life since I've started working at age 18. Not through any fault of mine, but again, is I just respond to what the market wants. Right now, the market says we'd rather focus on AI garbage and bullshit that's not going to ever turn a profit because the technology is just not mature yet, instead of working on foundational IT skills. So that's just one of the things that I personally have noticed and seen, in this job market and what's going on right now. But as I mentioned, our primary goal is to focus on what God's promise is, and that is we know that bills are due. Today is the first, rent's due on the first. But we are not going to fret, we're not going to worry, because what we do is, again, we ground and we pray and we look for God's guidance to lead us through these troublesome storms. I forget what the Bible verse is. As a matter of, yeah, I'm in front of my computer. I can Google it really quickly. Let me see. Bible verse. Say, what was it about? It's like, don't seek clothes, money, something to that effect. Let me see what it is. And not interested. What are you doing? Um, there's a verse that I'm thinking of. Yeah, there we go. It's Proverbs chapter 23, verse 4 through 5. And it says, do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. When your eyes light on it, it is gone, for suddenly it sprouts its wings, flying like an eagle toward heaven. So, what that means is that, guys, as God's children, we're not supposed to be greedy little shits like everybody else is right now. We're supposed to be, and again, what I am focused on doing is becoming a philanthropist. Is how can I use my wealth to help further advance God's kingdom versus how can I hoard it for myself and buy myself a private jet and ignore the poor and hungry. So I think that deserves a blunt right there. We've set a good little intro tone. So, all right. All right. So, grounding on the topic of greed, we started talking about that in the intro. I was thinking about it. So, um, when it comes to greed, it becomes a demonic possession when you start straying away from God in order to seek it. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, I mean, I've done wicked and godless things. So, again, it's not like me speaking from a holier than thou space saying, I'm better than you, I know better than you. It's really more so that I've done those things. So, I know the thought process behind why you want to do it. I know, you know, why you would keep and stay in those, demonic karmic cycles that would keep you doing, greed centric activities, things like that. Um, but the thing is that when you come away from feeling the spirit of greed, it is really more so where you have to open yourself up to feeling more of the Holy Spirit because I mean, bills are due. Like, I mean, I've been homeless for 22 months. There were some days where I got on the bus and I literally, I mean, it's a digital system, so like sometimes the bus driver would just let me get in. But my bank account, like, I was like 2 cents shy of the $1.30 that I needed to buy a bus pass. So, I know the physical panic and, real life consequence of not having enough money. That is a feeling that does make you think, hey, if there is something around that I can, grab and then of course, get away with it and nobody sees me just so I can continue my life and I don't have any problems. Sure, absolutely. I'd love to do that. But that is how the devil gets you because the devil will never take accountability for, I mean, obviously we have to take accountability for our own actions. But the thing about it is that the devil will suggest you do things. Then once you actually do them, that's when the devil will say, well, I never told you to do it. It was only you who wanted to do it. So again, these are these what are they called? Intrusive thoughts. Yes. So they're intrusive thoughts. So when it comes to how do I want to get ahead in life or how do I want to make my next dollar? Those are thoughts where you have to center them on God to make sure that you are following His righteous footsteps and not what the devil will want you to do, because the devil will always trick you into thinking that you can do wickedness and get away with it, but you can't, which is, again, another reason why a lot of people have quote unquote beef with me, is because I warned them and I let them know you're not going to get away with your wickedness. I know you may have thought you did, but you're not going to get away with it. And that therein too is another issue. Whereas, you know, um, a lot of people do wickedness, but they don't want to pay for the crime of doing said wickedness, which then makes me wonder, why did you do the wickedness, my friend? And granted, I mean, there's never been a, well, I'm not gonna say never. It's obviously it's rare. Nobody does bad, and then once the consequences come, they scream up and down for joy, unless they're a true psychopath or, true psychopathic demon. A true psychopathic demon of the underworld would do that. They would celebrate it because they want to show everybody just how they can, you know, take on these negative consequences and still keep being a demon, that taking on these negative consequences and punishments is not going to stop them. But in that same vein, you have to realize that if somebody's not going to stop, then the consequences that come are 100% their result. So when I've warned people against being wicked for a dollar and trying to, do anything to make ends meet, I've been there. I've done lots of different things to make ends meet. So this is not me speaking from a judgmental place. It's me saying, hey, I've been there and I know the kind of life that I was living when I had to do anything to make ends meet. And we're not going there. Please don't do that. We all know how I feel about that stuff. But there is also, hey, I don't like stealing, manipulating, or, doing, or, robbing or any of that kind of shit to make a dollar. But then again, I have a life to live. So I know when I was living, doing those kind of things without having too much care in the world, I had a much poorer quality of life than I do now, where I'm not focused on wealth because God is providing for me. And that's what you have to meditate on, is that God will provide. And what that also means is that There's a lot of different things that I had to cut out of my life. I have a well-stamped passport. I used to drive a Porsche Macan Turbo, a Z900 liter bike motorcycle on the track. Like I've been on the actual motorcycle track, like scraping my or trying to scrape my knee down around corners. So again, I used to do a whole bunch of shit, but God's like, hey, in this season of your life, I need you to sit down and I need you to focus on leading. I need you to work on your leadership qualities. This phase of your life is not about spending money and having fun and traveling the world and doing all the stuff that you used to do. And again, this is delay, not deny. So that's not to say that the stuff will not come back or you won't have the opportunity to do those kinds of things in the future. What it is that right now, I need you to prep for being a leader. There are many people who are lost. They will come to you for help. You need to build the infrastructure and the business to be able to help them. And that's what I did. So the infrastructure and the businesses that I built are the effective, platform that I'm using to help people. But again, most people want their diaper changed. They want somebody to swan dive into their life and change their diaper, rewire their mind and all the bad habits and things like that that they have, rather than doing the work. And as somebody who has done the work, I can tell you it does get frustrating when you are putting in effort and you may feel like you want to see the results of your effort tomorrow. But around here, we call that microwave results. Most of the most meaningful changes that you will make in life won't come overnight. Now, from the outside looking in, somebody might see that it looks like it came from overnight. And so they may try to downplay your efforts. But again, you are the one who is working day in, day in, day out, trying to make this thing happen. So again, when you are presenting this work, you know the groundwork that you put in. You know that the footsteps, especially if you're, a child of God, you know the footsteps that you put in to help make that manifestation come. And that right there is called your testimony. Your testimony is here is how God worked and moved in my life. Your testimony, your job is to share that testimony with other people who are struggling so that they can understand how to become stronger in Christ. So, with that said, I'll jump off my soapbox and we'll do some more grounding. I'm going to smoke and just let's let some of the negative energy and aura dissipate. Man, so I just came across this pretty dope post on LinkedIn. He just listed all these different technologies. He's like, hey, all these different technologies are free. And he's like, all of these different things are free. You have a laptop and a Wi-Fi. So you can learn all of these tools for free online, which as the Michael Jordan of tech, I would 1,000% agree. And again, I run a tutoring business, so obviously people learning tech, teaching them tech is one of my wheelhouses. But yeah, there's a lot of free stuff out there, man. I learned Linux when I was 16 years old because I got access to a virtual private server. There was a black terminal screen, and I had absolutely no idea what the fuck to do. Excuse my language. But I was like, yo, what is going on here? And rather than, trying to burden other people with my lack of knowledge, I learned and I took, I mean, Linux is a free operating system. So, I mean, you can pick it apart and learn it. And eventually, as a result of that effort of me starting all of those services, learning them, creating them, everything from scratch on my Linux VPS, I eventually became a, a Linux security administrator. I mean, I was a Linux support administrator, so I mean, I could actually administer Linux servers, do administration tasks, and then of course I graduated to security. So the thing about cybersecurity is security is you know how something works so well to where you can now secure it. So if you don't know how something works, you cannot secure it. That is my forever security opinion, and there are many people who prove that. But that aside, let's go back to grounding and allowing negative vibes to flow off. It's a little windy today, but not too much. It's good. All right, so there's a headline that's been floating around. There's a Chinese engineer that was hired by Elon Musk who uploaded XAI's entire code base to OpenAI, sold $7 million in stock, quit XAI, and then went to go join OpenAI. So, from a spiritual lens, what I just see is, especially as a CEO and job creator, you can't hire unscrupulous people. Now, the problem is that when you are running a business where you are trying to make the most amount of money possible, aka you're being an unscrupulous, greedy demon, you have to also hire people who are unscrupulous, who are going to be willing to do the unscrupulous things for you. And everything is okay. And again, I used to play with the devil. I have demonic family and members and shit like that. I got family members that do witchcraft and practice it. So, I mean, come on. I know what I'm talking about here. So the thing about it is with the devil is there is no loyalty with the devil. There's absolutely no loyalty with the devil. The same person you're doing dirt with and unscrupulous shit with is the same person that will have no problems doing unscrupulous shit to you when the time comes. And this is why you cannot work and hire unscrupulous individuals. But I mean, you can't be making money in unscrupulous ways because if you weren't making money in unscrupulous ways, when you try to hire unscrupulous people and put them in positions that require integrity, they always crack and fold, and then they'll run back off to whatever demonic business will pay them a good amount of money, like XAI or OpenAI. Both Sam Altman and Elon Musk are two godless demons. They're greed demons. All they care about is money. They don't care about humanity. They care about money. They care about fame. They care about being idolized as gods. So again, when you are a narcissistic demon who does unscrupulous things to make your dollar, you're going to hire other unscrupulous people who are going to turn a blind eye to the unethical things that you ask them to do to help your company make said dollar. So again, once that person, who again is also an unscrupulous demon just like you, they just happen to be an employee, That when that person gets disgruntled and they're or just not even disgruntled. I don't even know. I mean, I'm just reading the headline. I didn't dive deep into this, but assuming there is no, major incident, again, this is well within a demon's possibility. He may have said, "Hey, I'm just done here doing what I needed to do at this company, learning what I needed to learn, building what I needed to build, getting all the cash out of that company that I needed to." Because he sold $7 million in cash before he uploaded the entire goddamn code base and dipped out. He pieced out. So he is now going to a rivaling company that's going to pay him a shit ton more money. He just literally took all the intellectual property from his previous employer and got a $7 million freaking payday from his stocks. That is a godless individual that doesn't care about anything or anybody but himself. But that's who the boss was that hired him to run that company. A boss who doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself and a dollar. So why are you now surprised that your employee does the exact same thing to you that you do to everybody in America every single fucking day? More especially Tesla. How many Teslas do you see on the road? Elon Musk is a freaking fraud. So again, when somebody defrauds you, how are you going to sit there and claim fraud when you literally defrauded thousands of people on the daily with your lies about what full auto drive can do with your Tesla cars? But again, he's a South African demon and I'm a Nigerian demon, so him and I got some business. But um, you know, fighting over Mama Africa. You know what I'm saying? Making sure Mama Africa is at rest from demons. That's the kind of shit I'm on. Hmm. Another short little blurb, something that comes to mind is with events like this, another reason why the usual suspects who beg for my free help but don't show up is because it requires transparency. A lot of people are not willing to be transparent. They enjoy hiding. And so when you want to come into the energy of a child of God, or you want to even come into God's energy and allow it to come into your own heart, you have to drop the facades, friend. You cannot be fake because God sees into your heart. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why I serve Him is because he can see more than man. He is our creator. So again, he can look into the hearts of people and he can see what it is that they are intending, what their intents are for you, what their motivations are. And again, to keep you, a child of God, safe, as long as you cling to him and stay close to him, is he will then give you that wisdom. He will give you spiritual eyes. I like to call them spiritual goggles. I call them spiritual goggles on my Facebook, Instagram, whatever. But I call them spiritual goggles. So I was telling my brother, my roommate David, I was like, and he through the multiple experiences we've had together, his eyes are very similar to mine now. But I've had to tell him, like, yeah, I remember telling him, like, yo, I've seen the faces of so many demons worldwide on my world travels when I've like traveled around the world, gone into some of the poorest neighborhoods, hung out with some gangs and people like that that are affiliated, um, you know, things like that. is I've seen so many faces of different devils around the world is that before someone even starts a conversation with me, I know what the fuck they want. And that is a talent that many people kill for. They want to kill me for it because again, when you walk close to God, he gives you spiritual gifts. The gift of sight, spiritual goggles as I call them, is a gift. God does not give gifts to people who he knows will abuse them. I can't tell you the amount of people. I mean, again, this spiritual gifts aside, let's even talk technical, 3D shit real quick. So I can't tell you how many times I would demonstrate stuff like hacking into computers and stuff, and then people would say, "Oh man, if I had your knowledge, I would do X, Y, Z." I say, "Aha, that's why you don't have it, because you just admitted that you don't have a clean heart, so that's what you would do." Now, again, I am not somebody who is 1,000% clean in terms of my hands. Have I done wickedness? Absolutely. But see, that's the thing is, do I use my knowledge to do wickedness or do I do it to teach people how to avoid wicked people? That's the difference. You can use your knowledge of how to do wickedness to be a wicked person and do wickedness to others, or you can use your knowledge to teach other people how to be aware of wicked people and to avoid them so that they do not become a victim of said wickedness. So it's all in what your heart intentions are, and God can see them. So you may lie to me and tell me, "Hey, I'm your friend. I just wanted to ask you, for some sugar." A lot of times people will know that you can see through them when you're a child of God, so they don't want to hang around you because they don't want to change. If they wanted to change, they would hang around you and they'd allow you to give them the good feedback so that they can align closer to God. But what God says is that the devil flees when there is peace because he cannot create chaos when there's peace. The devil is the author of confusion and chaos. So when you have peace, the devil literally cannot function. He's like, "Arr, how can I create chaos here? There's too much peace." Have you ever seen peace drive somebody crazy? I'm not talking about like, what do they call that? Solitary confinement. I'm not talking about solitary confinement. I'm talking about just like I'm sitting here on this balcony smoking, chilling. Believe it or not, and my brother David can tell you, there are some people that if I sat them right next to here on the balcony and I'm doing the exact same thing, sitting still, keeping in this little box, not doing anything, the peace and tranquility that they feel will literally drive them mentally insane and they will flee. I've seen it. He has now seen it. Again, I've seen it before, but there are many things that he has seen that he now understands what I'm saying. And I'm not just BSing, you know? So it's real out here in the field. You know what I'm saying? It's real out here in the field. That's about all I can say. It's real out here in the field, and we ain't got to make up no tall tales. So much like last live, we had a couple of people just drop in, I guess, just to make sure I am live, or just, you know, take a look at my pretty face. No questions or anything like that, which is cool. Um, well, like I said, most of the time, um, my discounts and specials and this little session here um, is again just to prove that people will not participate in their own saving. So that's why I run their pockets to keep them away from me. Because if you don't run their pockets to keep them away from you, they're going to expect you to jump in their life and make you change their diaper. And if you're not somebody who likes to change diapers, and trust me, I did. My mom took my acceptance or hid my acceptance letters from me when I was in high school. So she didn't want me to leave from the house because I was her personal little mitochondria slave that she would, make do everything for her. So when I was going off to college, My mom hid all of my acceptance letters until after the deadline to accept passed. That's the most maniacal thing about what she did. I want to say like the deadline to accept was like, I don't know, May 1st of that year or some shit. So what ends up happening is she like gives them to me on like May 3rd. Or no, so sorry, sorry, I'm speaking. It's like May 1st is like respond by date, and then like a second backup date that's like May 30-ish or something like that. So yes, she comes on like June 2nd, and she's like, oh yeah, open letters and all. She has like four acceptance letters, and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I got these, and I forgot to give them to you." Sure. So, anyways, the reason why she did that was because she was starting a home health care business at the time, and so she wanted me to become the director of nursing. So again, she wants her son to be it so that I can run everything and do everything for her, and she can just sit back and basically not do anything. And so what ends up happening is that I go through nursing school because I was in that time I was still I want to make my parents proud, little viable campy kid. So I tried to do nursing school. So I've actually done CNA, the portion of the CNA, the CNA portion of the nursing school program for both the LVN and RN programs. So I've done CNA work twice, which means bathing geriatric patients, literally cleaning shit off the floors, feeding them, doing all sorts of things. So again, when I talk about changing diapers, trust me, I know some people who are truly in the medical field permanently, and I know I only did a brief little tour, because of school, but trust me, I have changed an adult's diaper before. I don't want to change any adult's diaper unless they pay me money. And I was a student when I did it, so that's why I did it for free. But you cannot get me to change an adult's diaper for free. Not even my own parents, because everybody knows how I feel about my parents. But that's another aside. We won't get worked up about that. But yeah, long story short is, people don't participate in their own saving. They'll say, "Man, I want, good advice, and I want to be able to be like you, and I want to be able to build a career, and I want this, and I want that." Okay, where are you showing that you want that life? Where are you showing that you're putting in the effort to have those results? Where are you? MIA. So somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, your spiritual life coaching, you're cool. I like the things that you've done, you've accomplished. I like your spiritual, gifts, talents, wisdom, yada, yada, yada. But your spiritual life coaching is $750 an hour, and that's way too expensive. Is there any way that you can feel pity on me because of my self imposed problems, that you can kind of forget that you have worked up the level of expertise and world experience to have built a business where you can charge $750 an hour for life coaching? I want you to forget all of that. Can you help me for free and change my diaper? And my response to those people are, you cannot make me feel guilty for not wanting to change your diaper for free because the things that I do offer for free, you don't want them. If you are truly someone who was so desperate to have your diaper changed, you would show up and say, you know what, this may not be the free thing that I want, but god damn it, I want my diaper changed so badly, I'm going to take what is offered to me. Instead, what's happening is you have people that I have to bully back that say, I don't want what you're trying to give me for free. I want your premium service for free. So that's why I get on my social media and I make the posts that I do. And I make fun of people who are mentally challenged because it takes a mentally challenged person to try and bully somebody into giving a premium service for free. the the example that I use very often is if you walked into Neiman Marcus and there is a $60 shirt and you say, I only want to pay $9 for it because that's all I got and I can get a brand new shirt at Walmart for $9, you will have security pick you up by the back of your neck and throw you out that store. So why do you think I won't do the same to you? Is it because I love God? You think I won't pick you up by your neck and tell you to go go find something better to do? Is that why? Or is it because I have a hand and a half? You think that I won't pick you up by the back of your neck? That this hand is not strong enough? Like I can't squat 435 pounds? That's my personal max. 5 sets, 5 reps, 435 pounds. That's two grown adult men. I can squat two grown adult men on my freaking shoulders with this hand and a half. So yes, I am a very strong man. I can overhead press 135 pounds. I don't know. I want to say maybe 145 or 150 overhead press is my limit. So yeah, that's what I do. This hand don't stop shit, nigga. Excuse my language. If you need to be picked up and placed where you belong, you will still be placed. Oh, sorry, for dramatic effect. If you need to be plucked and picked up and placed where you belong, then that's cool. But let's not sit here and pretend like I'm going to allow you to try and bully me into offering you a premium service. Oh no, we don't do that over here, friend. We act like we have hmm, coof. We act like we're civilized. We don't do that kind of stuff. That's what barbarians do. That's what Satan's kids do. They like to create chaos because they don't like things. They like to create chaos and say, I don't like how this is, so I'm just going to create chaos until I get what I want. As I say, I'm not being dramatic when I call them chaos agents of Satan. You know what I mean? They create chaos. That's what they do. Their job is to create chaos. So their job is to create chaos, so much chaos that you acquiesce to their desires. I'm creating so much chaos because you won't give me what I want that you're just going to give in. No, I won't. I'll just create more chaos in you. Oh, you didn't think I was going to do that, did you? And that's what catches people off guard because I'm so at peace. When they start creating chaos, they don't know that I can boogie right there with them. I'm at peace for a reason, my nigga. I don't go around starting shit with people because I'm a peaceful nigga. I know what the fuck I get up to when I get active. That's why I don't start shit with people. I just try to keep things chill and tranquilo. You know what I'm saying? I've been learning Spanish recently. I just keep shit cool and tranquilo. You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody who wants to test your gangster. And my favorite tweet, like one of my favorite tweets of all time, is from Ice T. Oh my God. There is somebody who didn't know Ice T is no G. So it was on Twitter. This is back in the day. I want to say this maybe like 15, 10, 15 years ago, maybe. But the person was like, you old man, you ain't jumping off your porch to do nothing to nobody. And oh my God, Ice T responds and he says, why jump off my porch when I can have you brought to me in a trunk? So maybe the OG chills on the porch, not fucking with people. Because when he decides to start causing chaos, he likes to bind people up and throw them in a trunk. Just a wild thought. Just a wild thought. What's that line by on 6'7" by Lil Wayne? He's like, "Don't get me started because the F is for finisher." You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't get me started, bro. I don't start stuff because I know I like to finish it to where it can no longer ever be resurrected, not even by God Himself. Because I will ask God Himself to make sure the issue can never touch me again. That's what happens when I get gully. And then there's no telling what happens to people at that point. Because once I start telling my God that I'm tired of dealing with a bitch ass nigga, I don't know what will happen to you. I've seen what happens to people when they fuck with me, which is why I don't go around. starting shit with people because I know my prayers end bloodlines. If you're the father of, or sorry, not the father, if you are the parent of a child and you have an untimely death or you're incarcerated and you cannot provide for your children, what do you think happens to your bloodline? Oops. Demons don't think like that though. Demons think, how can I get or create enough chaos to get what I need in this moment? There's no thoughts about consequences or the afterlife of what you'll have to live with after those kinds of acts. And that's what being at peace with God is about, is that you now can start taking greater awareness and accountability of your own actions, not anybody else's, your own actions. Which is the only reason why God will prosper you, is because he sees that you want to be accountable. He'll never make you a leader if you don't want to be accountable. What kind of leader would you be if you don't take accountability for your own missteps? You have to model the same behavior you want to see in others. If you want to see others apologize for their missteps, you must be somebody who apologizes for your missteps. I was raised by two parents who never apologized for a single goddamn thing they did. Or if they did, it was like squeezing water out of a fucking rock, to where you're like, you know what? I don't even want an apology from you because I'll never get it. And then the only reason why I'll get it is because you feel like giving an apology will save your life. And if you're only apologizing because you think it will extend your life, I don't want it. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. If you are being a godless demon and you're apologizing for your behavior only because you realize you are now at risk at no longer being able to be a free demon to do wickedness, you're not sorry. You just want somebody to free you of your crimes. Again, you want to escape accountability. So you're not a leader, you're a brainless follower. You're a brainless follower of Judas because you don't have a mind of your own. You just go around doing wickedness and hoping that people forgive you for it. So you're a brainless, mindless demon. You're a child of Satan. And when I call people children of Satan, people get offended. I'm like, nah, that's a child of Satan. I'm like, yeah, like trust me, I've done some wickedness, and of course, there are some times where I only felt remorseful at the time I got caught. But again, look at somebody's general, broader life. Are they generally always doing wickedness and always apologizing for it and always trying to get out of trouble for it? Then they're a demon. But are they somebody who, say 70% ish more? And again, I would say I was like 70, 80% ish. And then I kept moving up as as the years have gone by and as I've gotten more mature in my own personal life and walk with Christ. So again, is I'm now somebody who is mature enough to be a leader. So I can take accountability for my own crimes. I can call out people's missteps because I would call out my own missteps. And I use myself as an example. I preach about myself in my own personal life all the time. I don't just pick other people to bully or make an example out of. I can use myself to teach as well, and I do it often. All right, so Bleezy number one is finished. So, for edification and clarification, I did roll two. I did intend to have two. Today is Labor Day, so it's a holiday. So, again, this is me using myself as a learning example. I was stupid enough to think that, again, maybe just mm, one of the people who continuously beg me for free help would show up and ask a question. And again, my goal isn't to use this as like a session to like, beat people up or make fun of them or anything like that. Again, it's educational, it's to learn. So if there is a spiritual, oh shit, my bad, guys. If there is a spiritual question, I was trying to get up so I can put out my blunt here and end it. So I can wrap up this session so I can enjoy my next one off camera and just kind of chill a little bit more. But yeah, so basically it is there are a lot of people who I thought at least just one would show up, and put some sort of action, and that's the key word, action, behind their begging. And that's all, you know, God, honestly, that's how God works really, is are you going to put action behind your prayers? And that is a famous quote from the Bible, is that faith without works is dead, meaning that if you are having faith in your prayers that God is going to answer and show up for you, are you actually doing things to show him why he should show up for you, that you want him to show up for you? So again, I ask him for many things. I'm not going to tell you guys what I pray for per se, but I pray for many things. And God says, one of the things I want you to do is to, again, create another live event, go live, offer people an opportunity to receive free guidance and wisdom so that when I usher you into the next phase of your life, no man or woman walking this earth can ever accuse you of being selfish, because right now, in this phase of your life, people were arrogantly ignoring you and thinking that you had no wisdom to offer. So, again, there are many people from my past who will ignore that for 23 years I used to give them love, prayers, money, free tech support, all that jazz. Then, once I started my own business, offering and charging, these people didn't even hit the share button, bruh, or the like button. It would be one thing for someone to say, hey, this is my friend, cousin, whatever, whatever, and or my ex, colleague, whatever, and he's starting up this business, and I can't patronize this, but I want to, share because I support and believe. Here's the thing about social media that again I think a lot of people don't realize is just like you can see what I post, I can see what you post. You can pretend you don't see what I post, but I can see that you're bothered by what I post. You can say that you don't think I'm talented, but then you will share somebody who has a tenth of my talent. So again, you're just showing that you're not anybody of credibility that deserves any attention, because look at what you do. Look at the people you celebrate. Look at what you do to the person you want help from. You are meant to live the life that you are in. And I am not going to change your diaper for free, friend. Sorry. So, anyways, people are probably going to come back and rewatch this live stream and I may reference it. But at the end of the day, again, most people think that I'm just angrily shouting, making posts, things like that. And I'm not. It's really just more so that people don't listen. People don't listen. They have a hard time following directions and they want help in their own way. And I'm here to say, you will accept the help that I offer, or you get no help from me at all. All right, guys. That's my first blunt, and I'm out, and I'm about to go enjoy my second one so I can go and make some money to feed myself and my family. All right, guys. Peace.